Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Zero and welcome to another Red Forge episode. Today we are focusing on one of the biggest topics on YouTube today, and that is conveyor systems for both passive, hostile, and items. Mostly just hostile mobs. And you'll notice one thing about all these builds, that there's zero water, because who needs water? This stuff is intended for the nether. Alright guys, let's get into some of these builds, but before we do, I'd just like to mention that I need to give a big shout out to a lot of good guys out there, from the ETA and the SciCraft to Wubbies, who created the original idea for the conveyor system, and ETA and Acheron. Acheron River has by far been the most crucial catalyst to this entire thing, and he's inspired me to do a lot of these builds here today, as well as I've taken some of his builds that I've looked and analyzed to the best of my knowledge and put them in here. So anyway, let's get into the builds. Alright, so first on our list is the simple yet crucial slime and ice pusher. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing started. And you can see we have our little slime block pushing away over there in a set obsidian over some packed ice. I'll go ahead and spawn a wither skeleton in and switch it over to easy. And as you can see, the wither skeleton's pushed nice and easily along for an easy 10 meters every 1 second. Now, there's an issue here. Entity cramming is real. So, that is something we'll be reviewing on a lot of these builds, is they may be fast, like this slime block pushing these mobs over at 10 meters over 1 second, but if you have these guys that are lag behind, that's not going to do you any good. Okay, so next thing we're looking at is Ilmango's flying machine with the gate modification. So I'm going to go ahead and get these fired up. As you can see, they are moving right along, and we're going to go ahead and spawn a wither skeleton in. And you're going to notice something right away is that we find this little stagnant spot right in the middle, and that's because these gates can't pass over this area unless we run the risk of quasi-powering them and locking the entire system up. However, if we do spawn ourselves another wither skeleton in, you'll see that he's pushed right along and down into the drop chamber. So entity cramming is still a real thing here. However, I think we're heading in the right direction in terms of efficiency and control. This design travels mobs 10 meters every 3 seconds. Alright, so next on our list is the carousel design with cobblestone walls. This is a fun little design. I gotta say that this actually made me decide to do some other builds that I thought were pretty interesting as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one started. The concept behind this design is that the cobblestone wall provides a hitbox that goes through the trap gate over here and will collide with our mobs. Now, primarily this was designed to help with Blaze, because Blaze tend to float and would float over the fence gate that would be in this system, but the cobblestone wall prevents them from floating over it and actually hits them and pushes them over. But for this experiment, we are focusing with wither skeletons. So you see the wither skeleton spawns in, gets caught on the cobblestone gate or cobblestone wall, and it gets pushed to the edge. However, there's a slight issue here, is that once they get to this very edge, well, that's as far as they'll go, because they're no longer be colliding into the cobblestone wall. But if we go ahead and spawn another one in, the entity cramming will cause them to fall off. So with this design, you're going to travel mobs 10 meters every 6 seconds. Not super efficient, however, fairly reliable. Okay, so next on our list is the Smart Piston Carousel. Now, this is a kind of a monster of a build. When I say monster, I don't mean that in a good way. What happens here is we inserted some cobblestone walls into the actual blocks that can be detected by the observer block, or the Smart Piston. And what happens here is that it results in a much faster carousel. However, you do run the risk of breaking the machine anytime you try to insert these blocks. Obviously, the cobblestone walls do not get detected by it, so that's what we use the observers for, and those allow us to get an additional pulse. But occasionally, when you try to get to the maximum speed, you will break the machine, and it requires a lot of patience to keep this thing running. But anyway, let's go ahead and spawn ourselves a mob. You also need to take into consideration the frequency of where your cobblestone walls are versus your actual blocks. Remember, the blocks will actually determine how fast this thing runs. That's the purpose of it. Otherwise, you would just go with the typical carousel design. And the cobblestone walls are what provide the hitbox to knock the mob and catch the mob down into the drop chamber. This particular build with this amount of cobblestone walls will actually get you traveling 10 meters every 5 seconds. Not super efficient, but it does get the job done. Alright, so next on our list is the powered trapdoor carousel. Now, you'll be seeing a lot of carousels on those lists, and I should mention that you are actually limited when you're using carousel designs simply by the fact that you are limited by the length that your piston can push. So, with that in mind, if you decide to go with some carousel builds, make sure you stagger them to catch the previously carousel, catch the mobs from there, and put them into the next carousel. Let's go ahead and fire this one up. So as you can see, trapdoors are moving right along, being powered by the redstone blocks. Let's go ahead and spawn a wither skeleton in. As you can see, entity cramming is not an issue in this area. In fact, it's a lot of control and it's a pretty efficient design. I do really enjoy this, and you can see there's little to no redstone, unless you can see these redstone blocks redstone, which I don't. But anyway, this will get you traveling mobs every 10 meters every 7 seconds. Okay, so now one of my personal favorite designs, and actually one that I've built myself, is the treaded carousel, or vertical carousel, however you want to look at it. This is a pretty cool design, and I gotta say I'm pretty proud of it. So let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and spawn ourselves a wither skeleton after I turn it on. Alright. Spawning wither skeleton in. As you can see, he's carried right along. Far over here to this drop chamber. And it falls right out. This is a really, really cool design, and the fact that everything gets pushed out to the side allows you for a little more modification and or modular design with other carousel systems, or you can just replicate this one over and over again. Very, very cool. With this design, you get mobs traveling at 10 meters every 4.5 seconds. Not super fast, but very efficient. Oh, I bet you thought we were done with slime and ice. Well, we are not. This is another slime and ice build with dual slime block pushers. This is a pretty decent design. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this up. You're gonna notice one thing though. I'm gonna go ahead and spawn one skeleton in first. That it does work singular mobs. Even a couple mobs at a time will actually work. Sometimes. You're gonna run into the same issue here as with the entity cramming and entity lag. Yeah, these blocks won't be able always to hit everybody, and if they do manage to collide with one another, they'll bounce off and get stuck in the chamber. With this particular type of design, you're getting yourself about, if you don't count the lagging behind entities, every 1.75 seconds you are getting a mob traveling 10 meters. Again, entity cramming and entity lag is a real thing, so I don't think this is actually a really efficient design. Alright, last but not least on our list is Mr. Acheron's build. And I should say, I'm pretty sure he can agree with this, is that a lot of the community helped out with making this design happen. However, Mr. Acheron was the one to execute it nearly flawlessly. And I say nearly is because I've watched the video over and over and over again, and I still cannot seem to get my timing just right for his build. But this is his design. I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up. As you can see, we are pumping gates right along, opening and closing just in time to catch the mob in the adjacent area. Let's go ahead and spawn ourselves and a wither skeleton. Now, right now, they're traveling every 10 meters at 1.6 seconds, which is remarkably fast. Faster than anything we have on here, aside from like slime pushing over ice. But again, what you can't do with that is this. And this is maybe do it justice. Zero entity cramming issues. A near flawless system. Mr. Acheron, well done. Well done, sir. I cannot wait to work on this design some more. Possibly, you know, do some little tinkering around here, see if I can manage to add anything else onto it. I think you've done an excellent job. And this design overall will be replacing my Wither Skeleton Farms conveyor system due to this flawless nature. Oh, the pixel lighting is going to love me for this. But anyway, yes, great design. Now I will say, as you can see, I created this design 3 different times. The timing is important, so important to this, and that's all that matters to this build. You have to have perfect timing. From your clocks to your repeaters to the way you're sending your update priorities through comparators and other repeaters. Like this guys, this is important. Now this is what Redstone's all about right here, is making sure that you have this perfect timing. And that's obviously what I'm lacking in here, is that I cannot seem to nail it. I'm just short somewhere. It's like half a tick is throwing this thing off from being an absolutely stunning system. And hopefully Mr. Ocron will release a little more information on his build soon. But until then, 1.6 seconds is still remarkably fast. Well, everyone, thanks you guys for watching, and thank you all to the Redstone community that has helped us thus far building these great designs. Thank you so much. I am looking forward to continuing doing similar builds like this in the future, and being inspired by you guys I'm sure nobody can say thanks enough. Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for watching. If you really liked it, don't forget to like, and if you're not subscribed yet, you can subscribe still. We still have subscriptions open. Seriously though, thanks for watching guys. Hope you guys liked the video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.